Alright, so as we struggle to start this campfire, and I look like if Rachel Maddow took TRT and like lifted weights 4 days a week. I hope this works. Hello everyone, I'm Seanathan Cory. Thank you for tuning in, thank you for checking out. We'll get into things. We're gonna light this campfire, so deal with me for a second. We're gonna struggle to light a campfire. The glasses are not usual. I think this is probably I don't even wear sunglasses, so this is weird for me, but hopefully this works. Hopefully we can get the perspective going and I can edit this and this can be cool. If not, sorry, I just look stupid and gay in sunglasses, or I'm sorry, glasses that aren't prescription, don't help me at all. But hopefully they work and you can see this. This is me starting to start a very basic campfire. I'm just a dumb idiot who learned how to start a campfire on the internet, right? I got coals, got charcoal. I'm gonna burn a lot of wood tonight, and I just want this bad boy to just roll. And we're gonna ramble a little bit about my life, what's been going on in my life lately for the last year. If you've been here on my channel with me for a while, you've probably noticed I've been pretty gone, pretty absent for the last, really like 2 years. But for real, like the last year, and we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna get into it, and then we're gonna get into like kind of what my plan is. So the problem is I put these little starters here. I'm trying to just use these stupid little, I'm not fully actually a masculine man yet, and I can't start a fire on my own with my bare hands and just a flint, you know, a rock, 2 rocks, and 2 rocks, some grass, and some grit, and some blood, sweat, and tears. No, I have to still use a lighter I buy at Home Depot, fire starter, and wood I collect in my dad's backyard. We're gonna burn through this pile right here. We're gonna burn through. I think we're gonna be good here for a second. We'll tend to the fire. We'll get it going. So hello, welcome in. I'm Sean. Again, hello. If you don't know me, hello. I am Sean. Welcome to my channel. It's totally brand new. So if you've been here for a while with me, my channel is probably gonna be kind of wiped and started over. Starting fresh. Much more podcasts, much more, I don't know, this, personal ramblings and rantings, and less what I was doing, which was more like almost like presentations, you know. Definitely just gonna, sorry about my noise is down, bear with me for a second. We're at a campsite. I'm trying to blend technology with my campsite. So if you can see this, if my glasses are working, I'll be cutting to my glasses and you can see what I see through the glasses cameras, hopefully. So hopefully this is cool. My thought here is cool. This is trial and error. This is test 1, by the way, guys. Episode 1, test run. We're trying out my setup. We're trying out all my new gear. We're gonna get into it. I did a little test camping run. I lived for a week and a half out of my truck and traveled all throughout Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan for about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. And it was like a test run of just kind of living by myself in my truck only, living only in my truck. So literally, that's that. Homeless on purpose, living, you know, van life, how people say that or whatever, or just kind of like living on the road. So it's a mix of like camping some nights, sleeping in my truck, like sleeping in a Planet Fitness parking lot or a Walmart parking lot some nights, you know. Rest stops off the side of the highway, and some nights it's these beautiful campsites like this, just gorgeous. See this? Can you see this? Isn't this crazy? Isn't this nuts? This was like 30 bucks or something. this was like 20 bucks for like, I think it was like 40 bucks for 2 nights, you know? Just gorgeous, crazy. So I do this, you know, it's a mix of, you know, whatever you could say, struggle bus, homeless, sleeping in my truck at a rest stop, and then the next night I'm at this, you know, prime real estate in Arkansas. By the way, Northwest Arkansas is where I'm at. So like I said, we got a little campfire going, if you can see. If we can see my glasses here, you know. This whole stream, it might sound crazy. If the glasses camera doesn't work, and then you can't like pan to the glasses thing, to what I'm looking at, it's not gonna make a lot of sense. So just, guys, I'm a functioning adult. I'm an adult, I swear, right guys, trust me. So yeah, we got the campfire going. We got a little Hispanic family running around. I think two different families merged together on a little camping trip next to me. I was going to play my own music, but they got some good music going in the background. You can hear that, so we'll just let them rock and roll. But again, my name is Seanathancory. Find me, follow me, subscribe to me, tell all your friends and family about me. My channel I've evolved over the years. I used to run a podcast channel. I did like a startup, kind of also like how to teach. I basically was teaching myself how to like use Photoshop, use video editing software, voice editing software, all that kind of stuff to make podcasts and promos. I promote bands, I interviewed artists. That was a whole thing. It was out in San Diego. It was a podcast company. I didn't know what I was doing. And right as I was about to kind of start making money on it, I kind of had a panic attack and just hit the reset button. At the same point in my life when I was hitting rock bottom, it was kind of I had to hit the eject button on the whole podcast thing as my life was just crumbling and falling apart, as my total wealth was just negative, as my bank account was like negative $400, my credit score was like 400, I was working a minimum wage job, living with my mom, just bad, just horrible. And long story short, this is like my testimony summarized. We'll get into that later on my channel, so stay tuned. I'll go more in depth on my life and my testimony later. But in general, that's when you hit rock bottom. That's when Jesus is like, son, are you ready? Son, son, I've been here. I've been patient. Are you ready? And I was like, yes. And again, this is a summary of a long story, but that totally flipped the tables on my whole life and totally transformed me for the better. Got sober, totally turned my life around, like financially, got out of debt, clawed my way out of debt over the years. Moved to Nashville, totally like got a whole new giant friend group, got involved with all these different churches, all these different Bible studies in Nashville, worked 6 or 7 different like manual labor jobs, kind of on purpose. Like I would get a job to learn it for about 6 months, leave it, go get a different trade for about 6 months. Mostly outdoor construction, like hardscape, landscaping, cutting grass, planting trees, but also like building stuff, building like concrete stuff, I would do stuff like this. Again, this banks on if you can see, if I can actually cut to my glasses and my perspective here. But I would do, obviously better than that. That's kind of cheap. Looks cool. That's actually cool. I like that. Actually, especially for a campsite out in the woods. But we build patios and landscape features and whatnot. So I've kind of like taught myself. I've kind of manned up over the years, And if you've been with me on my channel, you've seen me. You've seen that journey. Like I started my first podcast company that I hit the eject button on was called North Park Radio. Just deleted that. It was just degenerate and bad. No one needed to hear that, especially me. I'm sure episodes and content and stuff is out there if you ever want to find it. So I started a whole new channel. At first it was called Sean V Planet, and then it transitioned into this, seanathancory. And episode 1 was kind of similar to this. It was like episode 1 was also me not test running, but starting fresh on a new journey of life where I was leaving California and moving to Nashville. And I did that, and I documented it, and I did the same thing. I was homeless, living out of my truck. You saw me go from that to get a job, to get a bunch of friends, to kind of just man up and become a biblical man. And it was interesting. I did it on purpose to document my sanctification process. And it was interesting because I was still like just a dumb degenerate. Like I was a born and raised atheist. I never had God in my life. I was anti-God my whole life. I was a rebellious punk, into philosophy, into debating people, into like just hating and being a hater and debating. And I was really into like libertarianism and political theory and political philosophy. And I still am, and geopolitics and history and economics and whatnot. So I got real into like libertarianism and ANCAP, and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, all that stuff just kind of lacks. We'll get into this later on my channel. We'll ramble about this later, about my political thoughts or whatever, where I was and where I am now and all that. But in general, I just kind of went from very like godless, very worldly, a very like angry man, very lost, very into my thoughts and myself, right? thinking I was smart and seeking out like what I thought to be wisdom, but was actually like earthly knowledge. And when I started my channel, the Seanathan Cory channel, which again, for the first, I don't remember how many episodes, maybe 50 episodes, the channel was actually Sean V Planet. That's what I was calling myself. Foolishly calling myself Sean V Planet. Switched to Seanathan Cory, so sorry if that's confusing. But yeah, the first, whatever, just 30 to 50 episodes was really a documentation of me going from just like not a Christian to a Christian. Like really finding my faith, really reading the Bible for the first time, really diving into complex subjects. That period of my life was literally episodes 1 through 4. I had never even been to church, really. As a kid, the Bible study things, but I didn't care about it, but I'd never been to church really, ever. And so I had started the podcast channel literally before I'd even gone to church or had a mentor or been discipled or really even read the Bible, So it was kind of this journey of me, even at the time in the moment I was thinking I was smarter than I was, It's funny looking back on that, how prideful you are. You think you're being humble. You think, oh no, I'm finally a Christian. I'm finally humbled. And then you look back and you're like, man, you were arrogant. Man, you were prideful. Man, you were so full of yourself, So yeah, it was interesting, but it's also just whatever. It is what it is. It was up. People enjoyed it. People liked it. We got to the point on this channel where I would post a podcast or a video episode and there'd be about 500 total watches and views, which is a lot. To me, that was probably about the maximum I ever thought I would get in popularity. And then just, long story short, again, my life kind of got messy and complicated. I got busy with work. I got busy with friends. I kind of just got jaded with this, doing the podcast stuff, right? And I was like, I'll just focus on just being social and, focus on my career, focus on my friends. And then I was going to come back and start doing podcasts again. And I fell in love with a girl and got my heart broken. And that was a whole thing. And I also moved into a house with these Christian guys, which was awesome, but it's just busy. We just got caught up with game nights and hosting we would break bread. We'd host a dinner every night, and break bread with our brothers and sisters in Christ, So there's just a lot. There's a lot of fun stuff going on, a lot of just real life things where I was just I don't have a bunch of hours of the week to sit down and make a podcast or a live stream and edit it and promote it right, So I kind of just hit pause for the last couple years on this. If you haven't noticed, if you've been here, if you've known me for a while, and you're still even here in this moment putting up with me on this stream and my ramblings, you know me and and I guess, yeah, you know me, and thank you for putting up with me. And you have to have put up with me in the past if you know me and are still here. So thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for being the real ones. And if you're new and you're still here listening to me ramble, welcome. Yeah, and hear me out, I guess. I'm a good guy. Right? And, we'll talk about this. We're going to get into it. I'm going to start streaming more regularly. I'm going to start making content more regularly. This is going to happen more often. But also, I'm now living out of my truck full time. So I'm now just traveling the country pretty much. Going to be in Nashville kind of for the most part as a home base. Doing a lot of stuff in Nashville, but really legitimately just this. This is my home. It's going to be campsites all over the country. And I am just going to literally travel the country, going to the national parks, campsites, reading my Bible. I have a whole thing where I'm going to every day I have a checklist of things I need to do. This is day 3. We'll get into that. This is day 3 of my official trip that I started, not my warm-up trip that I did last week. Day 3 of this journey, of this. I just live in my truck. I'm camping, sleeping out of my truck, just traveling the country, talking to people, meeting people, and I'll be doing this. I'll be sharing content more often. I'm going to write more often. I'm going to write 2 books. So I'm going to write a book about just what happened in my life for the last 6 months. It was kind of wild and crazy. We'll talk about that a little bit, but then also again, I'm going to write a giant long book about it. So stay tuned for that. And I'm going to write a book about this. So I'm going to document this every once in a while, almost like a diary, almost like a journal. We're going to stream, podcast, whatever you want to call this. We're going to post these episodes pretty regularly. I'm not making any guarantees or promises on a timeline. I want to say hey, once a week or every few days or every other week or something. But it's just literally just subscribe. Just stay tuned. And I'll come out with them when I come out with them, And yeah, I'll kind of be documenting my journey. I'll be keeping you updated on what I have been up to and what's going on. And again, this episode, I'm really, really, really trying to summarize things. And in my life in general, I'm trying to just not talk so much. I'm a talker. I talk too much. I ramble too much. I need to just shut up. And then I've been alone. I've been living alone for the last like 4 or 5 months. Like really, just avoiding people, being by myself, in my own head, being social on the internet, you know, texting, calling. But I just feel like anytime I finally get a chance to talk to someone, I'm just like, let me talk to you. I'm really interested in talking to you about something. And people just keep being like, dude, shut up. Like, whoa, chill, whoa, bro, whoa, calm down. I just met you, dude. I just work at this gas station, bro. I'm just like, I'm tired. I'm trying to clock out. Like, I'm just doing my job. And I'm like, talk to me, please. I haven't talked to a human being in 12 hours. I've been on the road. I've been hiking, I've been camping, I've been listening to podcasts, I've been, working out in the gym, but I literally haven't like talked to a person. And most other people on planet Earth are just like, leave me alone, like I'm doing my own thing. So this is where I need to let out. I need to focus and channel all my ramblings and rantings here. Almost as like a diary for like the 10 people that are going to watch this, at least in its entirety. I'll trick hundreds of people into starting this video for this podcast, right? I will trick hundreds of you, but to get maybe 20 people to return, we'll see. But yeah, this will be my place where I will ramble and rant as we go forward about stuff. It's been crazy. Actually, truly, like stay tuned, because I do have like really crazy stories, because like God has been really working on me and in me and through me, and my story's been crazy the last few months. My life, my whole life, it's like Job. It really was just I lost everything. I lost my apartment, my house, I lost my job, I lost friends, I lost my family, 2 of my my siblings. I just don't even have my life anymore. That's a whole thing. My dad died. That was the big thing. Unexpectedly, my father passed away in December, and that just flipped everything, and that just turned my life upside down. My dad was really my best friend. He was really like the best man in my life, and he's my dad, And I'm not going to cry, and we're not going to get into that. We'll get into that on later episodes, really, truly, but I just want to let you know, like, that was just like this significant thing that just totally flipped my life upside down this past December, so December 2024. But just leading up to that, my life was getting stressful and crazy and chaotic, and I was about to live homeless. I was about to do this anyways. But then my dad dying just totally flipped the script, flipped the table on everything. I had to man up, it's like I had to deal with a bunch of extra stuff too, that I had to just like man up. It's like you don't have a choice but to level up in life, So again, we're gonna get into all that later on later streams and episodes. And I'm gonna write more blogs. I'm gonna update my blog page. I'm gonna make a new blog. Do like more kind of short little thoughts again on the road as I travel, kind of updating you, so stay tuned to that. It's gonna be my thoughts more, like I want to be more into like doing vlogs. I always say I want to do this. It's like perfect for me. I always have these thoughts that are like too big for a tweet, you know what I mean? It's like I have thoughts that are like, if I could put like 4 tweets together, like 4 tweet thoughts, like a tweet thread, like people have like a tweet thread, and they don't have like, it's too much thoughts for one tweet, but it's not really like enough for like a full page or like a full article, So mix in between like a couple paragraphs of thoughts on a topic. So I want to do that more. I'm challenging myself this year to now on my channel do this more. So hold me accountable to that. Stay tuned for that. If you're watching this right now, I may or may not have updated my blog page, but just stay tuned, be subscribed. I don't know, what's that one thing everyone always does now? There's like that one app or subscription thing where people email you your blogs. I'm blanking on it. So I'm such a bad memory, but there's a thing. Just stay tuned. I'll keep you updated. But yeah, we'll get into blogs. That's where I'll share a lot of my life and my thoughts. We'll do this, and we'll be a little more detailed and a little more rambling next time. This honestly is a practice run. I don't even know if this is even going to post. Yes or no, this may or may not post, but we're gonna do this. Yeah. Eventually, at some point, maybe in a year or two, I will get to the point where I'll get an apartment or some kind of living situation figured out, and I'll actually make like a little more of a desktop studio setup, and I'll get back to doing more like live gaming streams like I was doing on my channel. At some point, we'll do more like reaction videos and gaming streams down the line, but for now it's this. It's me out of my truck, so it's going to be on my phone. It's going to be my little makeshift podcast video setup that we're going to have to tweak and adjust along the way. So yeah, I keep saying it, but just stay tuned, stay subscribed, and yeah. So like I said, yeah, my father passed away in December. I was living out of my truck already in Nashville, but more just like permanent, more like I had set places where I was kind of living. You know, I had set gyms I was going to take showers, and set parking lots I would park in the city or whatever. And then I worked. I mean, I was like working full time and making good money. And, you know, it's a long story, but there's just something about this that feels right. I do this and God is like, you're doing it right. You're doing things right. And I read my Bible and I see Jesus just traveling. And he doesn't have a house, and he doesn't have a job. And he says over and over again, like, the Son of Man doesn't have a place to lay his head, you know? Let the dead bury the dead. It's like, stop being tied down to your job and your wife and your kids and your family and your responsibilities. You know, not really, obviously. There's times where Jesus says to be a man, be responsible. The Bible is also, you know, very adamant about being fruitful, multiplying, having good families, biblical roles of the father, the mother, the child, etc. But just Jesus in my life, it's like, how do I, me, Sean, right now, be more like Jesus? And the more I see and read about his life, especially like when I have problems, and I'm like, I have problems, I need help with a situation. How does he handle it, right? And I see him be strong and bold and confident and like free and like mobile. He's pretty, and he also kind of, you know, he preaches the word, he preaches the truth, he extends a hand, he offers salvation, he offers, you know, redemption. And when people reject him and hate him and despise him and oppose him, he's quick to just say okay and like turn and leave, you know. So again, in my life, I've been struggling with some stuff, some family drama stuff. On top of losing my father, there's been family drama that resulted from all that. And I had this dilemma, like, as a Christian man with a not Christian family that's acting demonic. It's this whole dilemma I've kind of been struggling with of like, do you just leave them, or do you stay and fight? Do you dig your heels in and try to be the light in their life, you know? Try to be the ones that, you know, heal them, cleanse them, and, you know, lift the unclean spirits out of them, and, you know, I forget how it's phrased, but was Peter given authority to cast out demons? Or is it just time to just be like, you know what, I'm done with the abuse and the nonsense and the unnecessary stress and whatever in my life? And do you walk away? And we see that. We literally see Jesus go like, yes. He just goes to the next town. He even leaves his friends, you know. He even like leaves his friends. He says, go on the boat. He leaves, goes off, usually to pray, usually to fast, and usually into the wilderness. And he goes off into the wilderness alone, often. And if you remember, you know, he like meets back up with the disciples, like on the other side of the lake, or, you know, he walks on the water and meets them on the boat. And they're like, oh, it's a ghost. And Jesus is like, no, it's me. And, but if you notice, like, the reason why, like, they were separated, because Jesus at times does leave his friends. He leaves his responsibilities. He's a teacher. He's got people he's like teaching. He's getting ready. He's about to die. You know, his ministry is not only like spreading the good news and healing people, but he's going to die for our sins, right? He's going to shed blood for us, but also like he's going to leave. So he has to leave people equipped and ready to be the church, to be the mission field, the mission after he leaves us in his bodily form, right? So everything he's doing, like he has these responsibilities to teach. It's not like he's like running away from his responsibilities. But there are times where he sends the disciples out to do stuff on their own, right? Or he leaves them to go pray or fast. But the reason I'm rambling about all this is it just is interesting how Jesus seeks out the crowds. He preaches to the crowds. He seeks out the lost. He seeks out the weak and the broken, right? He's seeking out these people. He's going out of his way. A lot of times he's going to the Gentiles. He's going to the places that are controversial to go to. Where he sets up camp, Capernaum, is like this Gentile central point of the region, right? When he goes to the Decapolis, it's like these Gentile regions are kind of the areas where the people are most receptive of his teachings and of his word, right? He's more rejected by the Jewish people. He's more accepted by these outcast groups, right? The woman at the well, the woman with the bleeding affliction that reaches out, it's these people that are outcasts, right? And Jesus does seek them out. But then there's also times where he is purposefully, not a mistake, not a oopsies, I got lost. We got separated on our journey, oopsies, glad we found each other. It's like, no, Jesus is like, I'm going to go for a while. I'm going to go into the wilderness for 40 days and fast. I'm going to leave. I'm going to meet you on the other side of the lake. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go up on the mountain. Sometimes like I'm going to go up on the mountain, only Peter's coming with me, or like, so there's just, I guess the point I'm trying to make here, again, sorry, I can ramble, guys. The point I'm trying to make is people think I'm crazy for just throwing my life away, basically, and literally getting to the point where I have everything I need to survive just forever, like for weeks. I could just live. I can just keep living out of my truck now. I have simplified and reduced the simplest and lowest amount of clothes, the simplest and like easiest and most compact form of all the tools I could find. I've done the trial and error of like making things smaller and more compact and fitting, this, you'd be surprised what is in this backpack. Again, if you can see this perspective, this backpack I could just live out of. It has a separate tent than that, its own separate tent, a little mini sleeping bag, a little mini pillow, everything to start a fire. I would literally just need to find water and wood or some kind of heat source, and I could live out of this backpack for a week before I starve to death. Before I starve to death or die of water poisoning, So yeah, I'm not trying to say I'm some manly Bear Grylls guy. I'm still like struggling to start campfires at a campsite where I still need showers, I'm not like crazy, but I'm getting there and I'm practicing discomfort, which is kind of the goal here, I guess. Practicing discomfort, really reducing myself to the bare minimum, really humbling myself in my living conditions, doing a lot of fasting, doing a lot of praying. And again, getting back to that point I was trying to make of just being more like Jesus. How do I be more like Jesus today? What do I do? What did he do? How can I do that, And it is, simplify your life. Simplify your responsibilities. It's not running and hiding from them. It's not avoiding them altogether. Jesus still had disciples with him. He had to watch and care for and teach. And he had to get them ready for being, pretty impactful after he was gone. So he had responsibilities, he had the sick coming up to him asking to be healed, with faith, and he healed them. Like, he had power to give. He had jobs to do. He had business, right? He had business. He had souls to save, right? He had stuff to do. He didn't have time to be like, hold on, wait, I have to work so that I can make a wage, so that I can pay for where I'm going to sleep tonight comfortably in this bed, in this room, So there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not hating on that. We'll get into this as I go, but I actually don't recommend people just do this. I don't recommend my friends do this, or most, I'm not saying everyone should just quit their jobs and live out of their trucks, but some people like me are just called to it. God, for some reason in my life over the last 5 to 6 years, since I started this channel originally, like I said, which again, I guess I didn't give a time frame, but when I originally started this channel, it was right before COVID. It was in December of 2019. So from that point to now, there's been these periods of my life where I lived in my truck for months at a time, and I felt God moving. I felt on fire. I felt the Spirit moving. I felt God going yes, son, this is what I need you to do. And it really would just be like humbling myself and being open and free and willing. Free and willing. Like not just having the freedom, but also being willing to go, yes, I will obey. God goes like, hey, I want you to go here. And I go, yes. And I go here. And I don't go like, but I have to go meet my friend tonight. Or, I have to go clock in at my job. Or I don't have time for that. I have to go do my laundry because I have to blah, 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 right? I don't have these responsibilities and obligations that hold me back. I'm summarizing, I'm generalizing, I'm not getting a specific example here that specifically happened, but just having that extra freedom to be like God, that's that conviction that we all feel as Christians where God's like, go do something, right? And then you don't do it. And the reason you don't do it is because you make an excuse. You're like, I can't because of this. You make an excuse, right? But if you take away that excuse and you just do it, God works, man. God really works. And he rewards. And it just is, even not rewards isn't like I'm getting tangible blessings, but you're just feeling that perpetual state of joy. You're feeling on fire. I wake up on fire, And then it's I do this for a few months. It's awesome. It's great. I end up with all these great stories. I'm great. I'm on fire. Everything's awesome. It's great. I'm reading my Bible every day. I feel so close with Jesus. I'm waking up and I'm going to bed in my truck or at a campsite by the campfire, just feeling the hug, the embrace of Christ just with you at all times, You know that. That feeling of the Spirit just with you. And then I'm like, okay, it's time to get back to reality. It's time to get back to just what I'm supposed to do, right? I get a job, I get an apartment, I move in, I get a bed, I get comfortable. We're going to tend to this fire. Speaking of being comfortable with discomfort. But we start getting comfortable. Things start getting easy, and then you start getting obligations, and then you have to start doing dishes, and then this, and you're cutting corners, And soon enough, slowly, that whole, I'm on fire, everything's great. I need to drink of this. I keep forgetting we need to get rid of this guy. All the kindling here. Let's keep this out. See, a good fire, you need a little bit of air. I want a little bit of air circulation coming in here. You also need a little bit of kindling. I'm kind of a self-taught fire guy. The charcoal thing is a recommendation from someone at a campsite. I was struggling one day and this guy had a charcoal recommendation. It was killer. All this smaller stuff, which should be honestly, I need to chip this up or cut this up. I'm being lazy. Speaking of being lazy, right? Cutting corners and being lazy, right? And this is the epitome of it. You cut corners, you do, yeah, it's quick, it's easy. Let's just, whatever. Screw it. Just throw it on there. But is it going to be the best fire? Is it going to be the most beautiful fire? Is it going to be the most worthwhile fire? Is it going to be the fire that produces the most warmth? Is it going to be a fire that's actually worthwhile? Or should I actually take the extra 5 minutes to chop up the kindling, get it nice and good, really kind of assemble the wood correctly to get it nice and big and burning bright? Or do you just cut corners and do the easy thing? It's good enough. It'll work. Watch. We'll check in a second. It'll be good enough, right? But is it good enough? Is it worthwhile? Do you feel empty? Do you feel empty? Do you feel lost? Do you feel like you're not doing enough? Maybe it's because you're cutting corners and you're doing the easy thing. But like I said, so I do this, I go crazy, I live in my truck, everything's awesome, everything's great. And then I go, all right, it's time to get back to reality, snap back to reality and human life and civilization, right? And get a job and move into an apartment in Nashville and get busy again and get a girlfriend and distracted and friends and a new Bible study group. And you don't want to leave any other of your other 3 Bible study groups, but this new one's cool too. So now you just have an extra night that you're now busy, and soon enough you're just slowly drifting off into porn. You're slowly drifting off into just not cleaning your room, and it's just slowly getting more and more dirty. You just get more and more I'm gonna be more into reading this year, and then you just realize I haven't read a single book, and it's October. I made a New Year's resolution that I was gonna read 20 books, And I have read 5 chapters of 1, you know, and it's just those distractions, man. It's the comfort, the routine. And then something hits, like I'll kind of be like, I don't really have a good place to live lined up. Like my lease is going to end. So this has happened a couple of times. Like my lease ends and I'm kind of like, yeah, I could just go get an apartment. I mean, I could just go find down the street, whatever, sign up, apply, register, just go move in real quick. Or I could go back and get a little bit of that fire, a little bit of that, you know, what I'm supposed to be doing, juice, energy back in my life. And so on purpose, I'll put my stuff, all of my stuff, my possessions into a storage unit. I'll minimize all my actual practical stuff I need to survive, put it into my truck, live out of it, and then go right back to just me and Jesus on fire. Like on mission, like doing things the right way, you know. Feeling joy, feeling purpose, feeling good, and then just doing good. Loving God's children and loving Him well. And it just is so night and day. Like I go back to just what I'm supposed to do, you know, what everyone expects me to do, what society expects me to do. We'll check it on the fire here. If you can see my glasses, if we can see the perspective of my glasses. You see that? It's working. It's hot. It's warm. You can't feel it. Give that technology like 10 more years. It's hot, but is it pretty? Is it the best it could be? Is it actually achieving its full potential? No. Did I cut corners? Yes. Do I feel guilty about it a little bit? Yeah, I do. I do actually. We'll get better. We'll trial it. We're going to trial and error. Episode 1, again, you're still here. And you're still here at this point. You're a real one. You're a real one. Thank you. Thank you, and keep tuning in. We'll get better than this. It will get better than this. That will get better. My little practical setup will get better. My fire building will get better. This was night 1 of this tent. This is a new tent for me. I have 2 other tents that I use that are my real, like, actual tents. But this tent is kind of meaningful to me. This tent was a tent my dad bought. So I saw my dad on Thanksgiving. I went and spent the weekend with him. He was recovering from back surgery, and I spent Thanksgiving weekend with him. It was awesome. It was great. It's great that I got to spend that with him. And then he passed away 3 weeks later in December. So it was great seeing him one last time. It's also bittersweet. You know, it's like I really wish I could have just stayed with him or, you know, spent more time with him. There's always that. There's always that feeling of regret, right? And we'll get into my dad and my life and my thoughts and all that on a later episode. But the reason I'm bringing that up is this tent, again, if you can see through the glasses perspective, this tent is a tent that on Thanksgiving he ordered. So he was real excited to start camping with me. He, you know, I do this obviously for the last few years. I'm really into it. He's so dope and so cool and such an awesome man that he was starting to take an interest in my interests. And he was starting to go out of his way to get into camping. And we were actually this year going to go camping a bunch and see some, you know, go camping in certain places where we could visit some family or go do some fun things. But there was going to be 4 or 5 camping trips we were going to have. And this is the tent that he, you know, did some reviews and, you know, trial and error of not too expensive, not too cheap, kind of what he wants. He wanted the height. So if you can see through the glasses perspective again, he wanted this height. Because of his bad back, he wanted to be able to like stand up as opposed to like a smaller tent. My tents are actually like smaller and more like a 1-person tent that I literally can fit in a backpack. Again, it's efficiency. Everything's compact and efficient. But my tent is like you'd have to like crawl out of it. You know what I mean? It's like this high off the ground. That's, you know, I can fully stand up in that. I'm 6 foot tall, so. But yeah, this is night 1 of me setting this tent up. And if anyone knows, trying to assemble a new tent you've never assembled before, yeah, it's nice because it's like fresh and brand new and clean. And all the parts are there. Nothing is missing, you know? But it's also frustrating because every tent is a little bit different and very annoying. And Arkansas, where I'm at, is very windy, and I'm on a lake, which is very windy. So that wasn't fun, setting that tent up. But as I got it tent up and strung up, if you can see the strings, and firmly in place, it's been nice, you know, tenting out here, kind of with the spirit of my father in the tent that he would have been here with me, camping with, you know. So it's been nice, it's peaceful, it's awesome. And again, this is night 3. I am in Arkansas. I'm in Roger, Arkansas, just outside of Bentonville, Arkansas, or kind of outside of Fayetteville. I went to a Tennessee baseball game last night, Arkansas-Tennessee baseball last night, and did a little hiking. I just drove around, I didn't go to it, but I drove around and saw the Walmart museum and the Walmart stuff. Night before, we walked around Springfield, Missouri. We stumbled upon this place called Eureka Springs, Arkansas. I think it's like off the Ozark Lake, just on the Arkansas-Missouri border. I literally just by mistake found this place, and it was the coolest, weirdest, like creepy energy, creepy vibe to it kind of place. Not even really like fully like satanic or culty, but it was weird. And my buddy from Arkansas did kind of mention, I texted him, I was like, what do you know about that place? It was just kind of weird. And my buddy said it's like a big swingers place and like a big weird like swinger gay place. And it kind of made sense. It did kind of seem like almost like a weird in the Ozarks, like in country, middle of nowhere, small town, everyone for sure voted for Trump kind of vibe place. There's just this little enclave of like weird, like liberal, hipster, cool coffee shop, tattoo parlor. Almost like a place where I lived is North Park, San Diego, or like Echo Park, Los Angeles. Like that really like punk hipster, almost like a steampunk kind of hipster coffee shop vibe, you know? And it was just surprising to like stumble upon that in like the woods of Arkansas, you know? It was a cool little town. Yeah, before that I was in Springfield, Missouri, and before that I was in Champaign, Illinois for a few days. And before that I went on this trip. So I went on I'm setting up the first trip I did here, which was practice run. So I've been living in Champaign, Illinois for the last few months in my dad's house, getting the estate ready, his things ready, you know, stuff thrown out, stuff kind of set up. People are, you know, requesting and getting some of his various items and possessions. We're kind of getting it ready to be like sold. So I've been living in his house, just getting his house and his things and his stuff sorted and organized, right? So now we're not. So we've been doing that for the last 4 months, and now we are doing this for the next foreseeable future. We are going to be not living in a house. We're going to be living in my truck and in nature and just traveling the country. And so I did a test run, a trial run, if you will, right? Like, let's see if I have everything I will need for this next adventure that's just going to be my life, right? So I need to have everything ready. So I needed to do this test run to make sure I have all my equipment, make sure I have backups of everything, make sure I have, you know, the stuff I need necessity-wise. And then also stuff that's like pretty, again, like I said, compact and easy to store, not really like bulky, not really too heavy, can easily fit somewhere in my truck, not take up a lot of space. Because again, things do slowly accumulate. You know, you don't realize it, but the more clothes you think you need, the more this you think you need, more tools you think you need, it starts adding weight, it starts adding space. And if you want to live in your truck, you're also not going to need to have it 100% full. And just having it full is annoying if you need to be using stuff. So you need to be knowing like how to like practically assemble and store your things. So like if I'm like, oh, I need a lighter, like just before the stream started, I'm like, oh, I need to go grab a lighter. It's like I don't have too much stuff stacked up and boxed up on top of each other, on top of things where I have to pull everything out just to grab the one thing I need and then put everything back, you know? So it was this big trial run, really, test run, to just make sure I have my truck set up for this. So again, I'm in day 3 right now of go time. I don't know what to call it. The great adventure has begun. The great adventure, day 3. This was 2 weeks ago, the trial run, the test run, the what do I need, what do I don't need, kind of, just test run. I guess I shouldn't just keep saying it. You're not idiots. You get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I don't need to explain it 10 times, 10 different ways. You get it. You're a functioning adult. But yeah, so it was great. So I left Champaign, the test run, a few weeks ago. It was right around, I forget the exact dates, but it was right around the beginning of May 2025. It's the current year we're in. So we left, we went to Cahokia, we went to Peoria, explored all those small towns around Peoria, Illinois, central Illinois, did some hiking and some camping around Cahokia and Starved Rock. Not Cahokia. Forget everything I just said about Cahokia. I'm wrong. I'm talking about Starved Rock by Peoria, Illinois. Central Illinois. Starved Rock, not the Cahokia. By Peoria, we did some camping there, and then we went to Chicago for a day, and just drove around the city. It was gross. It was annoying. Traffic's horrible. People are mean. It's kind of like funny but mean. Like it's kind of like they're kind of my people. That's kind of my family was originally, my grandparents were from Chicago. I'm originally from Illinois, even though I live in Tennessee now, and I have lived in California, and I'm kind of a mutt in that regard of different cultures of my life, living in different places. But my blood is from Illinois, both sides. My dad's side is small town, Western Illinois, and my mom's side is Chicago, suburb, Chicago area. So those are my people, but they also are just jerks. I want to cuss, but I need to not cuss. The right word is a word. They just are, but in a funny way, and I kind of get it. I understand it. I am that way, like that is my kind of people. But it's also not what I want to be around. It's not like what I enjoy being around. It just happens to be kind of where I'm from, and what I'm a product of is people from that, right? Environment, culture, subgroup, ethnic group. So after that, we went to Indiana Dunes. I didn't even know that existed. It's a small little national park. It was beautiful. We walked around on Lake Michigan. And then we went up to this whole thing about Michigan. So I went into Michigan, and I really realized the hand. So if you look at the hand, it's the state, right? It's the outline of the geography. So I went from Chicago through Indiana up into like the Pinky area, if you're looking on the map. This whole area on the Lake Michigan side. Just beautiful campsites, beautiful hiking trails all around, beautiful disc golf courses I stopped and played at. Ate at these small town diners, like everything. It was so magical, man. Michigan was in the springtime was magical, and I literally wanted to move there. My like 6 days in Michigan, all the people were so nice, so friendly. The roads are like great. The traffic was great. People drove fast but good, and that's how I drive. Like a little fast, not crazy fast, a little fast but good. Defensive, smart, efficient, but fast. And that's how Michigan people drove. And I'm pretty sure it's because I don't have a lot of through traffic on highways, trucks, and just nonsense people on road trips. It's kind of like if you're in Michigan, you kind of sought out being in Michigan, It's not like Ohio or Illinois where it's like you could just be going through the state when you're on your way from one state, from New York to California. It's like you're just going through those states. But Michigan is like you kind of have to like seek it out. You kind of have to go up into Michigan to be in Michigan, And I think that does like significantly change the culture. Like it does change the whole vibe. The people there are just more like in-group vibe, more like, yeah, we are Michiganders. And they're all just so nice and warm and welcoming and friendly. There's a couple funny moments. Shout out to the diner, man. What was it called? It was like the diner between the dams. The ladies at that diner were awesome, and the food was great. I had done a 4-day fast. I was fasting for three days. I think 3 or 4 days, and I did 2 hikes and a giant like 18-course disc golf course. And I was like, man, I need a bunch of protein right now. Like I'm a big boy already. I was like, dude, I need some protein, right? I need some food. And this guy I met was like, you need to go to this place. They have this huge buffet. But then it was only on the weekend, so it turns out they didn't have the buffet. But I go in there and I'm like, don't judge me, ladies, but I'm going to eat a lot. I haven't eaten. I'm very hungry. I'm very deprived of protein. And I ordered a big omelet and a big breakfast burrito. And they kind of smirked when I said it. And I was being real goofy and friendly, like, oh, don't judge me, but I'm going to order 2 things. And I don't know, I'm not that fat usually. I'm not normally ordering 2 whole meals. I'm a 1-meal guy. But they bring out this meal, dude. The omelet was bigger than I thought the portions were going to be for the 2 plates they brought me. Like this omelet, dude, is this water bottle. This is like a Nalgene 32-ounce water bottle. Dude, that omelet was like that size or bigger. It was crazy, and it was like full of, it was like a meat omelet. It was like giant strips of bacon, giant chunks of sausage. It was crazy, dude. And then the burrito was the same thing. So they bring out these two things. I thought it was gonna be like a diner, like a Denny's. You know, you order like an omelet, and yeah, it's good. It's usually big enough. But if you're starving, like a normal just omelet from a diner is not gonna do you. These ladies, and then afterwards, we were joking. I was bringing up like, you tricked me on that, right? I was like, you played me. You knew that portion was going to be big, and that you would let me even make that comment about, yeah, don't judge me, but I'm going to eat 2 portions, and you let me do it anyways. We've been real funny and jokey about that. So shout out Diner Between the Dams. I believe that's what it's called, Diner Between the Dams. I have no idea where that was, but it was somewhere up. If you look at the state of Michigan, somewhere up in this like Pinky region. And then I went to Lansing. Lansing was beautiful. East Lansing, the Michigan State campus. And shout out to Mitten. That was another funny thing, was I was in this coffee shop. I go in this coffee shop. I'm like working on some of my life stuff, bills, organizing my mail and my life, you know, and getting stuff in order. Getting this, I'm channel prepping, you know, getting stuff ready for this channel debut, cleaning up my stuff, my websites, editing logos. I'm still in the process of that, by the way. So just keep staying tuned. Again, keep staying tuned. Stay tuned. Hey, everyone, by the way, stay tuned. Hey, everyone, if I didn't tell you already, stay tuned. Did I tell you already? Just stay tuned. But yeah, stay tuned. The channel, all my designs and logos and just everything. My blog's gonna get cleaned up. Things are gonna get deleted, simplified, edited, altered. So things are just in progress. We're in work. We're in construction mode right now for the next half year to a year as we do this whole journey, right? So just, I don't know if I told you yet, but stay tuned, okay? And so I go in this coffee shop. It's called Mitten Raised. And I just was like, you know, coffee shops sometimes have weird names, you know? And they had like pictures. The lady that checked me out, I knew right away was the owner, just because her presence and the way she was talking, kind of with authority, but also really nice. She was really friendly, really nice, really funny. She just gave off like, I'm the manager, I'm the owner here, you know? And the other was like little college girls all working the baristas, you know? But then I saw that woman that I was pretty sure was like the manager had her like pictures on the wall of like kids, either her kids or her as a kid. And so I was like, Mitten Raised. I was like, maybe her last name is Mitten. I literally like kind of I wasn't obsessed on that, but I was kind of in my back of my head. I was like, I wonder what Mitten Raised means. You know, it's just kind of like a weird phrase. Like, I'm sure it means something. It has to mean something, right? Like, there's a reason why it's not, you know, there's a reason why you made the LLC and you made the logos, you know, and you didn't come up with a better idea. I'm like, there has to be something. And then right as I was leaving, and I kind of was like, I was there joking, being real friendly, and actually the manager came over. It's a longer story, but this little cute, funny jewelry lady set up shop next to me. So then all of a sudden now every woman, just customer and employee, is now coming over next to me at where I was like working and like looking at this jewelry, right? And you know me, I'm jokey, I'm friendly, and like I said, I haven't had friends much in real life in the last few months of my life, so I'm like all social and jokey and goofy with them. We made friends, and the owner, we were talking, the owner has, I think her husband was, she said either worked in Nashville or does do business in Nashville every once in a while, so we kind of were talking about that a little bit. And I'm packing up and leaving, I'm kind of joking and laughing and saying goodbye. And literally as I go to throw away like my trash, I look at the logo for the Mitten Raised thing, and it was the state, you know, it was the Michigan State, and it's a mitten. Like their logo is a mitten, which is the state of Michigan, and I just clicked. I'm like, oh, Mitten Raised, like Michigan raised, you know? And I clicked and I walked over to the barista. I got these baristas and I'm like, you know, I'm sorry, I just had to share this. And I didn't have to share it, but I wanted to share it. But I was like, it took me too long to realize that the Mitten Raised thing meant that. And I sat there for hours being like, huh, that mitten thing must mean something. That must be her name. That must be like a slogan or something. That must be something. And it just was so like obvious. It's just so like, if you were from Michigan, you'd be like, yeah, of course that's what that means. And I'm like, I wonder, was it like her name? I wonder. Maybe it's like a catchphrase or something, like a local slogan, maybe, or something. Huh? I just like felt like it's such an idiot afterwards. Yeah, I'm sorry for that story. I leave there. I'm walking down. I'm checking out the campus, and as I'm walking, I'm putting these stickers up. I put stickers up all over kind of where I walk, where people will see them. Maybe you've seen my stickers. You've scanned the barcodes, and that's why you're here. That's why you're now putting up with me here on my live stream. Is like you found one of my stickers I put up. But I'm putting up a sticker, and this group of kids comes up behind me, and they're like, "What are the stickers for?" You know. And we start laughing and joking because they're putting up flyers and they're doing like a whole thing about selling solar panels. And we're talking about solar panels. And it's just like young kids. And we would just start like instantly talking about like business and like selling solar panels. And we were talking about like being like, you know, I was asking about the stuff on the campus. We were making a comment about like the basketball team and, you know, college basketball. And I'm a Tennessee fan. They're Michigan State fans, obviously, and blah, 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 blah. And these other two kids come up, they're like street missionary kids. They're like missionary people, you know, like hey, you have a moment to talk about Jesus. And so they both, like, they kind of break off into two pairs. And one comes to me and this other kid, because I'm now in a group. It's now me and a group of like 6 kids just kind of walking down the street, like laughing and joking with each other, yucking it up down the street. And these two like well-dressed, they weren't Mormons, they were just Christian. I forgot their name. World Outreach something Outreach. World something out of Korea. I don't know. They did a whole spiel about it. But they came, they totally did like a strategic isolate the group, you know, break the group up into like 2-3 different people and kind of street preach. And I like stopped him. I was like, bro, you know, just talk to these kids. I was like, hey, you guys talk to these kids. I'm like a born again. I'm saved. I'm a Christian. You don't need to waste your time on me, you know. Go talk to these kids. These are college kids, bro. Like, go talk to them, you know. And it's a long, funny story. Maybe I'll tell the whole story sometime. But basically, like, so then eventually the other kids that I'd met just kind of kept on walking. And then I started now talking to these street preacher kids, these 2 kids. And it was funny because, like, one of the kids, who, like, the kid that wasn't the introvert of the 2, there was an introvert and an extrovert. The introvert I was talking to, me and him were like vibing, and I was telling him like, bro, like, you know, yeah, I was born and raised atheist, hit rock bottom, you know, met Christ, totally transformed my whole life, you know, surrendered my whole life over to him, have been obedient, been seeking him out, like telling the whole story, you know, doing the whole spiel. Like, I get it. Hey, bro, I'm on your team. Like, I'm, you know, hey, bro, me and you are going to be in eternity together. Like, it's cool, you know. And I was kind of saying, like, those, like, go get them. You focus your energy over there. And the other kid that was way more extroverted, and by the way, me and the introvert kid are like vibing on that. He's like, yeah, dude, cool. And I was telling my podcast show, he was like, yeah, I'm going to check it out. So if you're that kid, shout out. Thanks for tuning in. And nice meeting you, by the way. I'm not hating on you, by the way. This isn't a hating thing. I'm just being real. I'm just keeping it real with my perspective. I thought it was funny on this. But shout out to you. Keep it going. So long story short, the extrovert kid, he kind of just like starts bringing up scripture. He's like, hey, can I share a scripture with you to make this point I'm trying to make? And I kind of wanted to be like, bro, I know. Like, even he was bringing up these points and I was kind of teaching him. I was like, yeah, that's actually from Daniel. And the guy like looked at me blank faced, like, what? And I was like, yeah, man. And so it was just kind of obvious. I think that kid, like, he had one of those, like, let me rephrase that. Let me speak clearly, speak well. He's one of those guys where he had his lines rehearsed very well. And if you're just walking up to some random guy who doesn't know God on the street, what he was saying is like, whoa, that's eye-opening. Whoa, tell me more. Yeah. And then that leads into your pitch. Like, hey, yeah, I don't have time right now, but come to my church or come to my Bible study. I'll tell you more, you know. Oh, you're interested in that? Yeah. That's scripture. This is a good thought. But hey, man, come on, you don't have to come this week, but just, you know, at some point, come check out our church, man. We'll talk more. I don't have time right now, but yeah, let's meet up for coffee sometime or come to my Bible study. Like, that's great. I'm sure he kills in that environment. And then he meets me. And I'm like insane and crazy. And I'm like a weird, like, extrovert, introvert guy. I'm like intellectual, but also retarded. I'm like energetic, but also like lazy and stupid. Like, I'm like wise and dumb, you know? Like, I'm just an anomaly. I am just crazy. I'm like, dude, I live out of my truck for Jesus. Like, I'm a crazy person, you know? I fast more than I should. I then eat more than I should. I got, I'm undisciplined, but I'm also on it. I'm seeking, it's like, I'm such like a, I'm not bragging or being weird. I'm just like such like a anomaly. I'm like not like the typical person. The point I'm trying to make here is I'm not like the typical person where you could just come up and be like, here's the script. Here's the script. Do you know about this? And then you read like a scripture. Do you know about? I'm like, bro, let me just stop you right there. I'm gonna want to have like a crazy esoteric discussion about like why Matthew went out of order with his, why the chapters of Matthew are a little bit out of order, and what the purpose and the esoteric meaning behind that was, and like all this. I'm like a little more like I'm crazy. I'm more interested about like, hey, has the millennial reign happened already? Are we living in post-millennial reign or pre-millennial reign? Did Jesus come already? I'm not like a hey, do you have time to hear about how much Jesus loves you? Yeah, man, like I know. Sorry. But long story short, it got to the point where I was like recommending like strategies to them, and I was kind of saying like, hey, you guys, like you two street preacher kids, you're bold enough to come up on the street and like evangelize, like to me, like you're crazy. I'm crazy, and you're like coming up to me and striking a conversation and spitting out scripture and making points based on that. Like that's bold. That takes confidence. That takes courage. That takes skill to do it effectively. And I could tell they were working on it. They were young, but they were working on it. They're going to be good. They're going to work things out and be good little street preachers someday, street evangelists. But I was totally recommending, like, hey, bro, you should go to the other Christian groups around campus and, like, recruit some of the better, stronger kids. Some of the kids like us, the kids that get it a little more, and have them come to your group. And he was like, no, we don't do that. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, no, we don't do that. And he even framed it as like if it was like weird, as if I was being nefarious. I was like, as I was like infiltrating the group and subverting the other campus Christian groups and destroying them and tearing them apart. I'm like, I'm just literally talking about like making friends at the other churches, the other denominations, the other little campus life groups, the various little groups, just making friends everywhere. Because Christians are seeking people. If a kid on a college campus is like going to like on a Tuesday night is going out of their way to like go to like a Christian worship night or something, that's a kid who's thirsty. That's a kid who's hungry. That's a kid who's seeking, right? And that's a kid who you as a Christian want to make friends, and especially if you have a Christian group, you're going to want to have them join your Christian group to like add to numbers, add to strength, add to quality, and like either disciple that person or be discipled by that person, right? What was the big giant point I was making about all? I didn't even bring this all up. Man, I had like a really good point I was going to make about the whole reason I brought that whole thing up. I left Mitten raised. I was stupid and forgot and didn't know what Mitten meant. I met the street preacher kids. Man, that was a good point I was going to make about that. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. And I'm going to tend to this fire like a big dumb idiot. There was a good point I was going to make, man. I'll think of it at some point. We'll get back to it. But in general, that was Lansing. That was Lansing. It was dope. It was sick. We walked around. We put stickers up. It was beautiful. By the way, shout out. That's a beautiful campus. There was like no trash. Landscaping was beautiful. The trees are gorgeous. Michigan, by the way, the trees are just gorgeous everywhere. Woo! Woo! That moment when the wind changes real quick and where you're standing's all good. It's all fun and games where you're standing right now, and then for a second the wind will change. Woo, like right now, we get blasted with smoke. Take it in. Never fun. Never fun. Man, I wish I remember that point. What was that point? Street preacher kids. Oh, okay, yeah. But so here's the thing. So those kids were like on fire, right? Those kids like went out of their way. They're like well dressed. They're walking down the street. They're approaching people. I mean, I'm kind of like an intimidating guy. I'm kind of a crazy guy, and they have like something inside of them is like getting them out of bed, out into the street, approaching people, sharing scripture, sharing the gospel. There's something there that's like in those kids, those street preacher kids, that's like, thirsty and hungry and seeking and wanting to, like I want to love and serve Jesus. What do? I want to share the gospel. I want to spread the gospel. I want to recruit lost souls, And my thinking is like, just then do that in any and every way. And if here's a group over here that can like help you do that, then like go do that. And don't be like hesitant to it. Don't be like, oh, well, I'm not comfortable with that. Or, oh, no, that's not what we normally do. So like, we're not going to do that. Or, oh, no, that sounds weird. It's like, you just do it. Dude, if God's calling you to do it, like, just go do it. Like, if you're on a college campus, like, and there's people over there that are lost, like, just go serve them. Go be the gospel. Go share the gospel, or go just like, not just with words, like share the gospel, but be the gospel. Exemplify the gospel. Like live out the gospel with your actions, especially on a college campus. It's easy to do that on a college campus where it's so crazy and degenerate and godless and rebellious that you being obedient and faithful and like normal and sane and well kept and disciplined, and happy and nice and just full of joy and happiness, even in the trials and tribulations, even in the bad times, right? That's a person that stands out. That's like living, that's like shining that light out in every direction, that light out into the darkness for all to see, right? And when you're in that place, like a college campus that's like so dark, it's like you don't even have to be like super bright. You don't have to be as big as this fire is right now. You just need a little bit of light shining out, a little bit of courage, a little bit of boldness, and be that light going out and shoot it out into every direction you possibly can. Let that light, let the heat and the light go out every direction you can. You walk down the street and you walk up to me and you're preaching on the street, do it. But also if you're like, hey, there's like a different Bible study group that meets on Thursday night, my group's on Tuesday night, hey, we should go to that group on Thursday night. And even if they say they're Christians, maybe there's not Christians, or maybe there's Christians there that aren't really taking their faith seriously or need something a little more in their life, a little more convicting in their life than just like worship night every Thursday. Maybe you can go get them and bring them into your group, right? And be a discipler, like be the person that shares the gospel if they're not a believer, But I guess in general, ramble, side tangent, sorry. The point I'm trying to make is like, just be serious about your faith. Live it out. And this is me. This is my life. And this is what I'm doing is I feel God calling me to be nomadic for some reason. For some reason, my life gets crazy and stupid and chaotic and I don't feel God like convicting me or leading me in the right direction, or I don't even just feel his presence with me when I start getting caught up and I live in an apartment and I'm going through the routines and I'm getting comfortable. And the second I like get crazy and wild and throw my job and my life away and start living out of my truck and living at campsites or like in Walmart parking lots and taking showers at Planet Fitness, doing laundry at laundromats, eating takeout food or, cooking food on campfires, little stove tops. I'm not getting choked up. I just got a little cough in my throat. But it's like that. When you feel that like conviction that like, hey, there's something that I need to do, do it. Just do it. Just do it. No, do it. For real though. Like do it. Like why not? And if it's like a little bit risky or it's a little bit weird, like just do it, man. I'm like, hey kids, like, be a little crazy and go to the other Christian Bible study groups and like recruit kids to your group. Oh no, we don't do that. That's bad. It's like, no, why not? Dude, just do it. You're randomly going up to kids on the street and like, street preaching. Which, by the way, that's an interesting side tangent. Last night I was in Fayetteville for the Tennessee-Arkansas baseball game, and I'm walking down the street, and I'm walking around again, putting stickers up, walking around Fayetteville. It's crazy again. It's Fayetteville on a Saturday night, post-graduation. It was a hellhole. It was pretty degenerate and disgusting. But there was a young kid, he's probably like in his 20s, early 20s. I don't know if in college age, but definitely like early 20s. And he just had a Bible and not a microphone. He's just standing there, just on a busy corner, just with a Bible and just kind of like kind of street preaching, kind of not. He just in general, I think, was waiting for conversations to happen, but he was just standing there as people pass, speaking to the crowd, like speaking out in general, just saying like, repent, the kingdom at hand is near, turn away from your life of sin, like Jesus is the way, Jesus is the light, he tells us so, we know so, kind of like general statements kind of thing. He wasn't like addressing anyone specifically or talking about a specific point. I think it was more like just inviting conversation to happen. And I walk by, and I usually with people like that, as long as they're not insane or crazy, I'm just like, hey man, keep it up. So I walked up, I like this, pumped him a little bit. I'm like, hey brother, keep it up. Like seriously, keep it up. Like don't stop. Keep spreading the good news. Keep, despite probably the 0 success rate you have in this little mini Babylon in the Ozarks. Your 0% success rate tonight. Don't get discouraged, brother. Keep it up, And I go back and I'm like, whatever. And he's just like, thank you, brother. And he just keeps going and I walk away. It's whatever. We're walking, I drive, eventually I'm like walking around for a few more hours. I get in my car, I'm like ready to drive home. I'm kind of driving around again, like looking at the city. Yeah, this is cool. This is a cool little bar, a little strip, a little street or whatever. Oh, that's a cool little coffee shop. Oh, that's a cool little whatever. It's like 3 a.m. at this point, post bars, everyone's cleared out and gone home. And so I'm driving around that like post bar. There's a few people struggling to walk around or whatever. A few people, getting truck food, and a few people cleaning up and packing up and leaving their jobs at the bars. And I drive by, and that street preacher was just so truly, authentically like clutching that Bible and just closed like this, like closed eyes, clutching that Bible and just praying to himself, like on a bench. No one around, no one saw him. He wasn't doing it to be seen at all. 0 performance, And so I drove by, and I was like, man, I want that kid's faith. So like the other little street preacher kids, it's almost kind of the opposite. It's like, man, you guys need a little more like faith and conviction. Like you guys need a little more, let's get serious, let's go. Or yeah, I believe in Jesus, but like let's go now. And it's like we're at a really big, we're not a big, but like we're in a very fertile mission field, a college campus, a major college campus in America. It's like, guys, let's go get serious, man. And it's like you're walking up to me on the street and starting a conversation. So I'm not saying this to like a kid who has like crippling anxiety and super introverted or whatever legitimate excuse you may have. This is more like, guys, let's go. Let's get a little more serious. Let's do something. Let's go. Let's Shia LaBeouf and just do it, And so again, last night, so that trip was again my test run trip was in Michigan. That's where the first street preachers were. Last night is real trip, day 2, night 2 of my real new trip and adventure we're documenting right now. Was the other street preacher kid that I'm just mentioning. I just walked by and then saw at a later date. But I could just see and feel that kid was taking it serious. That kid, kind of like me, I'm not trying to brag, I'm just saying like that kid had that extra little switch that's flipped in your brain that goes like, screw it. I'm going to follow Christ. You know what? I'm going to look crazy. You know what? I'm going to do the crazy thing. You know what? People are going to say you're wasting your time and this is stupid and this is risky and this is dangerous and you could be doing so much better other things. You need to be practically thinking about this and you need to blah, blah. It's like every little excuse and everything that tries to get you to stop from following Jesus. You have responsibilities, you have obligations. Think of other people, think of your family, think of your friends, like think of all this other stuff, right? But like a guy like me and a guy like that street preacher kid last night, there's like a switch that flips in our brains that just goes like, you know what, screw it. I will let go. I will be crazy. I will get called names. I will get hated on. People will not like me. My family will not like my decisions. My friends will not like my decisions. When I have to tell them no, when I have to tell them that like I am not listening to their advice, I am not, considering their advice because I'm on this mission from God, and their advice is contrary to what God is calling me to do. And so I'm sorry, but I'm going to do what God is calling me to do because I have that extra switch flip that says I'll let the dead bury the dead, and I'm going to go forward and follow Christ. You know, I'm gonna not care about what was just going on in my life, and I'm gonna leave right now, and I'm gonna go follow Christ because He needs me. He's calling me right now, and I'm gonna be obedient and walk forward into the mission He's calling me into right now. And yeah, I'm sorry that sucks for whoever I'm now leaving behind. You know, all the promises I made or whatever that I don't have to like break in order to follow Christ. Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry. You know, and I'm just being general. I'm not saying there even is. My life is pretty free. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a dog. I don't have kids or responsibility. I don't have a job right now. I do little things on the side to make a little side cash, right? I have a little bit of money saved up. And we're going to make a little bit of money in the future off some stuff, right? We're going to get a job at some point in the future. But as of right now, it's like I just don't have things that legitimately are holding me back. So I don't really have legitimate excuses. And I do have that switch that says I will be obedient, I will follow despite the consequences. And so this is what's happening. And so this is the result. I am living out of my truck. I am living out of a tent. I am having campfires. I am rambling into microphones on campsites next to families, and I'm sorry if they're listening into my nonsense, but I do have that. I am on this journey, and again, I guess that whole point I was trying to set up about these street preacher kids and almost the difference between them is some Christians just do, and it doesn't even mean we're better. I'm not saying like because I'm better, because I'm the best, I have this switch that flips and I'm able to whatever. It just is like, is my life. It is the gifts I was given. It is the situation God put me in. It is like the battles I've been given. And it is for whatever reason like how God wants me to live and what God wants me to do. And again, for the last 5 or 6 years, I have been the one, me, selfishly, Sean has been like, well, I need to do what other people do. I need to get a job. I need to get an apartment. I need to dress nice. I need to be social. I need to do... It's like Sean, selfishly was like, oh, well, I want a wife. I want kids. I want a homestead. I want land. You know, I want to like do it, but it was all me. It was like, I want a wife. I want kids. I want this. I want status. I want reputation. I want to be like one day an elder in a church with a happy, healthy, Christian, beautiful family, you know? And that was me and what I was pursuing. And God the whole time was like, I don't want this for you. You actually are not suited for this. I have other plans for you. I actually need you to be doing other things right now, Sean. And I was like, but God, won't I be fruitful and multiply? Like I'm trying to excuse it, like bargain with God. Like, but God, wouldn't it be good if, you know? And we'll get into this later. We'll ramble about this later. We'll wrap this up shortly. I don't even know if this is even going to post. I don't even know if this worked. If this did work, it will be posted, I guess. But again, just to wrap things up, I was the one selfishly being like, I need to live a normal life. I need to have a job, an apartment, and friends and family, and do the normal things, right? And the whole time, when I did kind of hit the switch, and for a short period of my time, be a little crazy and be a little radical, like the street preacher kid, or like what I'm doing, just that little extra step of like, I'm going to throw my life away and live out of my truck, or I'm going to throw my weekends away and stand on a street corner preaching the gospel to 0 people listening, you know. And hey, maybe one day, maybe the seeds are planted later down on the road for some of those people, or maybe, you know, in 5 weeks I get 1 catch, you know, and that's what's worth it. But in general, just having that extra willingness to be obedient to God's calling is what I'm enjoying and what I'm after and what I'm serious about right now. And I'm not perfect. I'm dumb and an idiot. And you're going to hear all about that in my books I'm going to read. A lot about my struggles and shortcomings and failures, even just recently, you know. Some major mistakes I made in my life recently. We're figuring it out. The end baseline priority is to be obedient, is to have faith, is to follow wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Step into your calling. If it is being a good husband to a woman and you together raising children, do that. Do that 100%. And if your calling is God, like being like, hey, I need you to be like nomadic for some reason, and I have people that I need you to talk to for some reason, And I'm not going to explain to you clearly. I just need you to like trust in me and have faith and follow. And when you feel convicted to turn right and stop at this barbecue place, I need you to just do it. And you'll see. And every time I'm obedient, it happens, it doesn't make sense. It ends up making sense. I end up having the right conversation with the right person at the right time. Or if I wasn't obedient and I made excuses and I was like, but I'm late. I need to keep going and make good progress on to my next campsite, then I missed out on what God had for me over here, So in summary, I'm going to wrap this up, but again, we are going to do more of this, so stay tuned. We'll be more concise too, a little more better prepared next time. But yeah, sorry, I'm lost. Where was I? Where was I? I guess I'll just wrap up. So after the whole, I got lost, and we were in Lansing. We did the test run in Lansing. We did the test run. That all happened. We went to Ann Arbor. We went down to Bloomington, Indiana. I went back to Champaign. Test run successful. I didn't die. We lasted. Everything was great. Magical things happened. Awesome things happened. Fun times. Lessons were learned. I grew closer to God. I learned how to love His people more. It was a success. And there were some things I realized, I'm not going to use this. I'm putting this in my truck right now. I don't need this. And there was some stuff where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to need that. Order some stuff on Amazon, buy some stuff at the local stores. There's some, again, it's that test run, that trial and error of like, what do you need versus what do you not need? And so now, as of 2 days ago, May 15th, 2025 was day one. I left Champaign, drove all the way to Springfield, Missouri in one straight drive, walked around Springfield, Missouri, stayed there, took a little nap there, and then drove again through the middle of nowhere in Arkansas, in the Ozarks. Kind of got lost on purpose there. Stumbled upon Eureka Springs. Like I said, a little weird, a little occulty-ish, a little weird, but kind of cool, kind of weird, kind of cool, weird. Very unexpected in the middle of Ozarks. But then so day 2 and 3 now, we've been in Fayetteville. We're camping here in Roger, Arkansas. That's my update. We did the practice run last week. We are now in day 3 on this journey. We're going to do this a little more frequently. Again, no promises on an actual timetable, regular timetable or whatever, but we're going to do this a little more frequently. And I'm going to have it's going to be a little more entertaining, a little better. This is kind of, I guess, I'm trying to summarize a lot of stuff and again, not ramble too much. And in my life, I'm trying to not ramble too much. In my next streams, I'll be a little better about, we'll tell stories a little better, right? I'll be a little more about telling all the cool actual stories that have happened along the way. My little street preacher thing, that's not even a good example. That was a bad rant I went on to make that point. I'm sorry. There are some really cool stories I've had along the way that are like kind of crazy. Like to the point where I'm going to tell him and you're going to be like, he's making that up. And I'm like, dude, it's kind of crazy what God does. Like when you are obedient and willing and you're just like, yes, Lord, and crazy, weird stuff happens. Crazy synchronicities, really small world moments, like wow, profound moments, and then just like really beautiful moments to help people. And we'll get into all those. I'm actually, this is the point I'm trying to make here, or I was trying to make earlier, a little bit, earlier, is this update thing is I'm going to write a book more about this journey, and we'll talk about that later, but along the way I want to tell all these little moments that happen on this trip, on this great adventure I'm on. Again, this is day 3, but as I go each day of this trip, this adventure, I want to, like, as we tune into these episodes, kind of fill you in on those cool little moments, you know. The bigger picture of things, which is this episode, and what's not going to be in the future, the bigger picture of things, I'm going to put in my books and in my blogs. But the little moments and the little ramblings and thoughts, we'll talk about at my campsites going forward in the future. So I don't know if I said it earlier, but stay tuned. And thanks for putting up with me. Again, we will figure things out. My little setup here, everything my little setup will get better. I need to get a better battery pack. I need to actually probably get 2. I need to have more power. I'm actually struggling right now with my power setup. I need more batteries or stronger batteries for my recording software, my computer. But we're close. We've got it almost figured out. If this worked, then we've almost got it figured out. If this camera thing worked, and this audio worked well, and the camera on my phone worked well, which we need to get that replaced with some like an actual camera. But right now you're watching this video is my phone, and my audio, and the glasses. It's kind of cool, right? You see my perspective, hopefully. You can see that. I actually didn't even show you, right? Did I show you the taco truck? It's my Tacoma. That's where I live at. We'll do like a whole welcome to my cribs video one day of my taco truck, my Tacoma. And I'll show you how exactly I'm like living out of that. But that's it. Behind my tent there, behind my dad's tent is taco truck. People call it the taco truck. That's the general thing for the Toyota Tacomas, but she specifically is La Jefa. La Jefa, the boss baby, the boss lady. With that, we'll tune out. There was some stuff I know I've definitely forgot. I'm going to be mad that I didn't bring it up, but we'll just cover that. I'll make notes, and we'll talk about a bunch more stuff on my next stream. How long was this? An hour and a half? We're going to do like hour, 2 hour long streams. They'll be, again, they're going to be better. The future streams are going to be better than this one, for sure. The real thing I'm working on for sure is books. So I'm writing books about what just happened with my life the last year, losing my father, the fallout from that with my family and my job and my life and just stuff and just how I'll just say this, it's like by and for Christian men. It's like struggles that Christian men face and advice and encouragement by and for a Christian man dealing with hell. And advice for other men out there, Christian men out there, also dealing with bad circumstances, right? So I'm writing that book. I'm pouring my heart and soul into that book right now. That's where my creative energy really is. Just do it. We're putting all my real, true heart and creative energy into that book. And then after that, and kind of as we do this journey, I'm then going to write a sequel book, a second book, that's going to be about this journey. So literally as of like day one, I'm now journaling and starting this second book. So sorry, I'm just kind of saying like my real heart and soul and passion and all my real true creative energy is now in these two books. So just in a year, 2 years, 3 years, you'll see what I mean. The books will come out, you'll kind of understand and get it. But I'm going to kind of leave out stuff that I'm putting in those books. And also I'm going to like have, again, most of my energy going into that. And you guys aren't going to see that. You're just going to see these streams where I'm rambling like an idiot on a campsite, forgetting what point I'm trying to make in the middle of making the point, you know. So campsites and all of this stuff is more goofy, laughy, jokey. I'm an idiot. I forget things. I try to make big, profound points, and then I sound like an idiot. And I wash myself back, and I'm like, man, I should have said something different there. Man, I was so stupid, I forgot that. But again, these are more like laughy, jokey updates. I'll kind of tell you about stuff happening along the way on my journey. These aren't going to be live. I used to do live streams. These are all going to be recorded and uploaded along with other podcasts. Eventually I'll do interviews with people with this same kind of mobile portable setup onto the same channel feed. Interview just like my friends, artists, pastors maybe, just interesting people. I don't really like want to box myself into a certain category. I'm just going to like interview people and talk to people. But these streams, this channel feed, these streams are just going to be this. Really informal, really just rambling and hopefully better in the future. Hopefully better quality in the future. But we'll get there. We'll be there. And vlogs, that's where I'm going to share my actual kind of like thoughts on current topics and political topics, and also a little bit of stuff going on this journey I'm on. And that's going to be where I am actually a little more, you know, you see in my writing, I'm definitely way more concise and profound. I can really pack a punch when I sit down and think about my words, as opposed to just let them spew out of my mouth. But yeah, so that's kind of the updates. all my artwork and stuff is going to be updated. I guess my channel, if you've been here for a while, my channel is, see, I've been debating this. I have slowly for the last few months backed everything up. So I now have a backup copy of all my videos and podcasts and everything I've done and made. But I think I'm just going to wipe it all. I think I'm just going to delete all my social media stuff, or at least most of it, maybe like 80 to 90% of it all. Because it's just as stupid or just as clutter or just clunky and maybe confusing to future people when they look back at what we've been doing starting right now and going forward for like the next year or two. People looking back might be confused because I've changed a lot. My opinions and views have changed a lot. My journey has changed a lot, and this channel has changed a lot. So it just makes sense that like the channel itself would change a lot. So the art has changed. The stuff is changing, all right? And I think a lot of the old stuff might just get deleted or taken. We'll figure out what I'm going to do with it, because I'm not deleting it to just get rid of it. I kind of just want to clean up and keep things here a little more concise and clean, and I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm thinking out loud right now to myself. I'm planning my channel, and you're just happening to be a fly on the wall here at the campsite with me as I think out loud and brainstorm. But I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to back stuff up. I might make a separate website or something and put the old content on some kind of separate other channel. And so we're going to start this over, or start again. I had one of those, like, you know that moment when you like, it was weird, I didn't sip water, it was like an air. But you like sip water, you get air, and then all of a sudden you just start like choking and coughing maniacally. But you're not like in danger, it's just like a crazy, like, you're just coughing and you can't. So sorry, I'm like, for some reason, I'm like choky and coughy and chalky in my throat. I do need to like, it's not from the campfire, but it's not helping that I'm like standing next to a campfire, taking in the fumes. That definitely is not helping. But it was happening kind of all afternoon. You know, that weird little I don't know, that little chalk in your throat that kind of makes you coughy, eyes water and stuff. So sorry, whatever just happened on the little feed, I definitely just cut that out. We started over, but I guess we'll wrap up everything tonight. Thank you for tuning in and putting up with me. Stay tuned. I don't know if I said that before, but make sure to stay tuned. Blogs, books coming. Again, those are kind of where my main passions are. These are going to be a little more informal and jokey and stupid, and I'm definitely a little retarded. So thanks for putting up with me and bearing with me. I can be funny. I think I can be funny a little bit. I can be insightful, I can make profound points, and we'll get into that. Again, I'm trying to like summarize and fill you in and almost like update you. But when we kind of do these, we'll talk about stuff I have been up to on my journey, what I'm going to be doing on my journey, but then I'm also going to kind of dive into deeper thoughts and deeper questions and be a little bit, you know, I don't want to say just like entertaining, because that's not what I'm trying to do here, is be entertaining, but it just is not going to be this. This is more of an update, fill you in on what's going on, generalize my life and my general thoughts on things in general, bigger picture things. But stay tuned. I don't know if I said that. Make sure to stay tuned and subscribe and tell people to subscribe. And things will get a little more interesting and cool along the way here. And yeah, with that, definitely recommend me. By the way, that's what I'll say too, is I just want to focus more here. This channel for sure is definitely going to be like by me, a man, for other men. So ladies, I'm sorry if you're here. Welcome. It's okay. It's okay that you're here. It's okay. I'll be Trump here. It's okay. It's okay. You, I don't know. Is it okay that you're here? You ladies, is it okay? I don't know. The greatest. The ladies here, the ladies on my channel, they're the greatest. The greatest ladies. Greatest ladies. Yeah, stick around. That's cool. But really, like the men in your life recommend this channel. I think they're gonna like this. What this channel kind of turns into, the vibe we end up with, the advice we give, the encouragement we give. Definitely like my books and blogs. At some point in the future, we'll be promoting them, obviously, and talking more about them, explaining them or whatever. But those are definitely just me, my struggles as a man, encouraging other men, trying to be helpful to young men out there, and be a big brother to people, or maybe a little brother to people, like encourage people, but also like I'm willing to be humbled and like have mentors in my life that teach me and raise me up and make me a better man of God, a better, more biblical man, right? If you can help me love God and love his people more, I'm willing to. But I would also love to use this channel, this platform, everything I'm doing here going forward. The general goal is to make myself and other men love God more and love his people more. And so if you have men in your life, brothers, fathers, husbands, friends, coworkers, you're like, hey, you're a man. You're like either considering being a Christian or you are a Christian. Or like, hey, you're like totally a degenerate piece of crap and I think you should be a Christian because you need to not be so horrible going forward in your life. Those people, just send to my channel and have them subscribe and have them stay tuned to me, you know? That's going to be what this whole thing really is like for. The whole purpose is kind of for my own sanity, for the most part, like my own sanity, and it's kind of just my own documenting my own journey. But it is also to like maybe encourage other men out there, lift men up, maybe learn from other men, but also teach and help other men become better. And yeah, so that's kind of the whole, I guess I should say my mission statement, right? Or like the purpose here. But along the way, we're going to laugh, we're going to joke. I'm a little controversial. My thoughts are a little out there. I'm sorry. I'm a good guy. I love you. I just might not agree with you. I just might have some like, you know, weird opinions on stuff and live a little bit of a weird life. But I still love you. Anyways, you know what? Jesus loves you, and so do I. So it doesn't even matter. Even if I totally disagree with you, even if you hate me, you despise me, you've betrayed me, you've hurt me, you've totally, just anything, anyone, whoever you are, you're watching, you're listening to this, look at me, I'm crying. I'm literally crying right now. I'm so into this moment right now. All of you watching this, no matter what you are, you hate me, you despise me, you know me, you don't know me, whatever, every single one of you is loved unconditionally by Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior. And therefore, me, who wants to be like Jesus Christ more every day than I was the day before, I also love you. So, without exception. I'm like moving and shucking and driving around because I'm trying to avoid this smoke, and it's literally making me like cry, real crazy. So I am gonna wrap this up. I do want to just sit here and ramble for like another 4 hours. And again, stay tuned. You see me crying? I'm like really crying. Yeah, my eyes are like painted red. I look high. I look like crazy. That's wild. I look like I am stoned, guys. It's crazy. I'm like, no, can you see that? I'm like literally like water down my face. So we'll wrap it up there before I die, before I cry myself to death. Let's just, let's end. I'll turn this way, and if this does work, you can either watch me stare off into the distance, or I'll wrap up my thoughts. If the glasses are working right now, you can see what I'm seeing. If you're not, you can see my fat self from behind. You can just see my fat self stare off into the distance. But we'll do closing thoughts here. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to stay tuned. I don't know if I said that already, but stay tuned. Subscribe. These campfire ramblings that I'll post on my like Rumble and YouTube, and we'll have this as like a podcast audio, but we'll also try to do video as best as possible. I'm not as equipped or as good with the video stuff, obviously, but man, I'm like facing away from the smoke. Like the smoke is still wrapping around my head and blasting me in the eyes right now, man. Like what? It usually isn't this bad. It's crazy. I'm getting choked up and like teared to death, cried to death by this fire, by this smoke. Where was I? It was crazy. Do you see this? I don't know if the camera's catching it, but it's like wrapping up into my eyes. Yeah. So yeah, find me, follow me. These will be a podcast and video. I will do my best to not be a total idiot with the video and all the quality and stuff. I know this has been bad. I know the audio for sure. Me moving around and moving this cable has been very annoying on the audio. So I am sorry, guys. I will in the future. I'll probably just like sit still somewhere and not move this cable and this mic around. So I am sorry that I know the audio has been really bad all episode. I'm sorry about that. And so that's something that on the future episodes, just know that I'm an idiot and I make mistakes and I'm working to correct them. So in the future, I will try to limit my mistakes on that bad audio. So stay tuned. So stay tuned, everyone. And yeah, books coming, blogs coming, total new artwork and updates. I'm going to delete a bunch of stuff on my channel. We'll be making memes. We'll be making art along the way. We're going to make these. I'm going to do some interviews with some people. So yeah, well, things will get pretty interesting around here, hopefully. Fun, maybe. Maybe not interesting. Maybe they are interesting. Maybe just fun in general. But insightful, convicting, encouraging. I want to like help people. I mean, that's the real goal here. Like, this is not money. I literally don't want your money. Like, do not send me money. There will not be advertising on this. I just want to use this kind of as therapy for myself and also to potentially help other, my target audience is young men, but just people. If I can help you love God and love his children more than you did this morning, that's a mission accomplished. And if it's like 5 people out there, so be it. And yeah, and in the meantime, I'll just keep living my life. We'll keep doing what I'm doing. We'll keep evangelizing to the people I meet, living out the gospel through conversation and through example, just as I journey across America for the next year. And that's about it. Love you guys. Thank you for putting up with me. Keep putting up with me. And yeah, we'll just soak this in. Just beautiful. Look at this beautiful campsite. It's just crazy. Isn't God just dope, dude? Isn't God just dope? Like, look at all the stuff he just created and maintains, and we just get to enjoy it all. It's just nuts, man. All the joy and happiness and peace. I mean, yeah, there's all the bad stuff, right? But then that helps you appreciate these moments. All the stress in your life that you have to put up with and deal with to get you to like this moment where you're just like getting choked out and blinded by campfire smoke, but you also get to like turn around and enjoy this, Dude, God is dope. And with that, we'll end. Thank you for putting up with me. Stay tuned for real. I know I'm like being weird about that, but stay tuned for real. This will get better. We'll get better at this, and things will get more fun around here. I'll keep you updated on stuff. And yeah, love you guys. Do good, be good, love and be loved. Jesus loves you. I don't care who you are, what you've done, where you've been, what you've gotten into. Whether you love Jesus or you don't. I don't know if you know this, but Jesus does still love you. And because of that, I love you. And I'm not just saying that as like a little slogan, but I'm like serious about that. And it hurts me, and it's a struggle sometimes because some people are really horrible. Some people are really mean and cruel, or like even just your family or your friends betray you and hurt you, and it's so dark and gross and disgusting. But at the end of the day, Jesus still loves you, and that's so crazy. And because of that, the least we could do is like be a little bit obedient, right? Follow him, love him, praise him, worship him back, thank him. Wake up every morning and give thanks. And yeah. So with that, Jesus loves you. So do I. Take care, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Again, every other stream going forward will be more of like a journal entry update, and we'll ramble a little more about interesting things. It'll be less of an update. And I know I didn't really explain this fully well. I know I'm going to like think of like a bunch of stuff that like I should have said. And man, I could have said that better, right? Or I could have done that better or said that more concisely or whatever. Man, I look like a weird masculine TRT taking lesbian. I know, I get it. This was bad. This wasn't great, guys. But this was episode 1 of many, and we will figure things out and we'll get better along the way. So you know what? Stay tuned. So stay tuned. And yeah, with that, we're signing off. I guess the point I was trying to make there at the very end, I'll do like a little blog and we'll explain things more concisely. I'll make up for all my shortcomings and failures here tonight. But in the meantime, love you guys.